Hi guys, welcome to my channel, From Rio to ROI, the channel that helps international entrepreneurs do business with Brazil or inside of Brazil. Today, I'm going to be going over the top 10 reasons to invest in Brazil. And just to let you guys know, today I have my handy sidekick here, right? These are my meticulous notes, which are going to help me go through this video a little bit more structured and a little bit more quickly. So without further ado, let's get into it. The number one reason to invest in Brazil: the sheer size of the country. Brazil is a country of about 215 million people, making it South America's largest economy. So when you think about that, that's a really huge consumer and labor base. And just to give you guys an idea of the size of some of the various segments in the Brazilian economy, here are a few markets to consider. Number one, the market for medicines. In Brazil, this is about 23.5 billion US dollars. The market for furniture, $9 billion. Household appliances, almost 8 billion US dollars. Food, drink, and tobacco, well, that's well over 250 billion US dollars. Boom, mind blown. Vehicles, parts, that's well over $50 billion. The market for beauty products, over $5 billion. The market for vitamins and supplements, over $1 billion. And the list goes on and on. This was just meant to give you a little snapshot at the sheer size of the markets here in Brazil, right? So definitely the top reason to consider investing in Brazil. The second reason why anyone should consider investing in Brazil is, and is actually one of my favorites, is that almost 90% of Brazil's electricity comes from clean, renewable resources. 90%. That's a lot. In fact, 7% of all renewable energy in the world is produced here in Brazil. So why is this something that should be attractive to investors? Well, because renewable energy sources, especially ones that are growing, here, such as those here in Brazil, they bring down the electricity costs in manufacturing, which in turn brings down the costs of production, right? So depending on the industry, electricity costs can represent anywhere from 10 to 40% of the cost of production. And when your as they say here in Brazil, a matriz energética, right? The energy matrix, when the majority of that is made up of cheap renewable sources of energy, you can expect some of that to pass along the chain into the products, the goods produced here in the country, which will typically reflect as being less expensive as opposed to countries and places that have an energy matrix based on oil, gas, and other fossil fuels, right? So this is an excellent reason to consider investing in Brazil. The third reason to consider investing in Brazil would be the fact that Brazil is the fifth largest recipient of foreign direct investment in the world, right? So with about 86 billion US dollars of foreign investor money plowed into Brazil's economy during 2022, the country found itself already ranked ahead of countries such as Australia, Canada, India, Sweden, and France. I mean, this is no small feat. This is incredible. What it basically says to investors is that, look at me, Brazil. I am making all these efforts to show you that I am highly investable. A little bit more than these guys behind me, right? And I'm going to catch up to the ones that are in front of me, right? So much of these investments actually went into sectors such as transport, infrastructure, factories, and technology. And speaking of technology, my fourth reason as to why Brazil is a good place to invest is the fact that, here we go, the country is the largest innovation hub in all of Latin America, right? With more than 13,000 startups, Brazil has a highly digitalized population and open doors for solutions abroad. This makes Brazil the major technology hub in Latin America. Now, besides being a giant when it comes to agricultural and renewable energy technology, Brazil is also a leader in other areas, such as in educational technology, health technology, and financial technology, which we commonly call fintech, right? And for those of you who are familiar with fintech in Brazil, of course, you'll know the likes of Nubank, C6 Bank, and a bunch of other neobanks right here in Brazil that basically everyone here in Brazil knows about, right? They have a strong presence. And one of the interesting things to note about Brazil is that Brazil leads Latin America in the number of unicorns produced, right? And if you don't know what a unicorn is simply a company, a startup who has a valuation that is north of 1 billion US dollars, right? And as of my last count, Brazil had roughly 45 unicorns already produced under its belt, right? So that's another good reason why you should think about investing in Brazil. And the fifth and perhaps the best reason to invest in Brazil is its people. And I don't mean its people from the standpoint of the market size or the fact that Brazil has some of the most creative workers or most creative people who are highly educated. What I'm really talking about here is that in the Brazilian people, there's a quality you don't find anywhere else. It's hard to describe, and the closest thing that I can do to explain it would be to say, imagine someone who's honest, hardworking, super friendly, motivated, smart, willing to go the extra mile, charismatic, and I can go on all day. But these are the adjectives that I can use to describe Brazilians and why they make Brazil worth investing in. From the moment you start to get to know Brazilians, it just changes the way you think about not only business or investments. You start to think about life in a different way. You start to see things differently, right? And as I'm going to say, this is probably the most important thing that you need to know when it comes to making an investment decision in Brazil, is that you need to know more about its people, and that's its strongest point. All right, so if you found this video helpful in any way, please click subscribe. And I plan on bringing you more videos that show you how to do business with and inside of Brazil. So until next time, take care, guys.